Hi guys, my name is Kamiyoko. This tutorial is for intermediate artists who already knew basic object lighting and rendering. There's no real-time creation process, but multiple layers, explanation of how I achieve the result, and how to make the image better with some Photoshop tips. The best thing about this tutorial is that it does not require any special brush or a complicated filter adjustment, but just default Photoshop brush and the basic knowledge. So let's get started. I want to do a scenery at sunset because it's one of the most beautiful times during the day. During this time, the bottom of the sky is always lighter than the top because the sun is setting down. I first go in with regular airbrush to brush paint down the base, using purple and some grayish blue. Then use this default brush, like here. Adjust shape dynamic and scattering in brush preset, then choose orange yellow to light up the button. For the ground, I use oval shape of regular round brush. First, blot down the dark brownish color as the base. Maybe add some dark blue purple as well. Then freely paint on top with lighter color. Of course, adjust the opacity. Something like this is a quick demonstration. Create a new layer and then gently paint in with desaturated pink. Then set this layer to hard light. Because hard light will enhance the saturation, so I pick a desaturated color. Next, I create another layer, then add in more brush stroke, giving it a more painterly feel. I also add some purple at the bottom and overlay brush mode. And for the stroke texture, I use this brush. Then flatten all layer into one. Add more detail of small size of brush strokes. By the way, the canyon on the left is interrupting the overall feel of the painting, making it less peaceful and calm, so I take it out. Add our main subject, the sun, with brush mode, linear dodge. And don't forget giving a bloom light with brush mode and color dodge. Color dodge mode is best for making bloom light. Finally, apply some sharpen filter. Next, block and round shape with elliptical selection tool and blur and filter. Bring down the opacity. Something like this. Darken the ground at the bottom in a new layer, since the new focus will be on the spaceship. I just make this in ZBrush very quickly and roughly, as this is gonna be the texture for the spaceship. So here's the transformed texture in perspective. Next, I brush in some light to the spaceship using soft light in layer mode. In the normal mode, it looks like this. I want to add some abstract shapes to furthermore indicate the main subject, which is the sun, as well as some square shape on the spaceship. So I choose this kind of shape to wrap around, guiding viewers' eyes into the sun. Adding more detailed stuffs to the spaceship, details really matter for the composition as well. Since the surface of the spaceship isn't flat, there are boxes of shapes stick out here and there, so rationally it should create some reflection light. So adding those very fine lines to indicate the reflection light from the sun is the next step. The spaceship needs to be complicated, so adding repeating abstract shape to further enhance it in new layer. However, I don't want it to be noticeable on the surface of the spaceship, so I set this to multiply. Now adding some dust using previous adjusted default brush to the overall painting. Some part on the surface of the spaceship is having a normal dark shadow, so cover up a lighter color is crucial. Next, blend no layer into one, adding more dust with brush mode set and color dodge. You might ask, why don't I just create a new layer and use layer property to do it? Because it gives you different results. I find it's better using brush mode to paint on a normal layer. There's empty space at left and right, so I create more abstract shape to fill in, adding more further details of stuffs. To enhance the spaceship, there should be a massive amount of window of lights. I use this default brush to do most of the dots lights, and set the layer in linear dodge. Next, I Ctrl-Alt-Shift-E, flatten all layer to one new layer, and then blur it with Gaussian blur, and the amount is like this, and switch to overlay for the layer mode. Adjust the opacity, and then bring down the saturation. And lower the light and level, as well as the shadow contrast. Hit OK. Flatten all to one layer again, using linear dodge brush mode, adding more lights to define the abstract shape. Final tweak of the light, create a new layer set in color dodge, then airbrush an orange yellow bloom light. And that's it. Enjoy!